Hi everyone, I'm Daniel, and today I want to talk about a question that was posed to me and others on the Mythos Busters Discord yesterday, with all of the Chapter 2 stuff out and the Investigator starter decks, the Evergreen starter decks, being out just recently. What Chapter 2 cards have you personally enjoyed using? So, what are the things that have maybe not just been a surprise, but has been actually really fun to play? And my immediate answer was Marie Lambeau. I've been playing a campaign with packs through the Dungeon Legacy. We're doing just all Chapter 2 cards, but playing a longer campaign. And we've been switching out the encounter sets for the encounter sets in Chapter 2. That's a whole other discussion. But I've had a blast playing Marie. She's been really interesting and really fun. But when asked about this, like after the initial question, I said Marie. I was asked, well, how has she felt in terms of her own niche? Is there anything specific that I'm finding works with her ability, or is the consistent draw a good enough payoff for me? Let's just check out her ability real quickly. She's got this crazy reaction. After damage is placed on Marie Lambeau, draw 2 cards and discard one of them. Limit once per phase. In fact, this could happen 4 times during a single round if you happen to take damage quite a bit. But this is really strong. I think this is no surprise to anyone that drawing cards is really good in a card game, but taking damage seems scary. She has 8 health, and the damage needs to go onto Marie in order to get this extra card draw. But what does this actually mean for a investigator who can draw so much? I think that's part of what was maybe so surprising to me about playing this in the Mystic class. So going back to this question, I didn't have an immediate answer of like what's hooked me, what has been so surprisingly fun. But now I've had a little bit of time to think about it. I have a couple of answers, and it all has to do with what our expectations are out of Mystics and what Chapter 1 looked like in terms of what the Mystic class was doing. So, one, I do think that managing taking damage with card draw and gaining resources, that whole set of shenanigans that we'll see when I show you the deck in a second, that's a fresh take on Mystics. In Chapter 1, taking horror happened a lot, and a lot of like blowbacks of spells were you taking horror. That's still sort of the case with war protection, and I imagine it'll come back too. But given that Marie wants to take damage, that feels like that's different. But it's not. That's not really what's the different part is. It's that you're doing it proactively. In other words, you want to take damage in order to get the card draw and the resource generation. And that's the part that was missing desperately in Chapter 1. Mystics had a hard time drawing the cards they wanted outside of Arcane Initiate, which just got them spells. They just slowly got through their deck. Resource generation was also a bit tough to do. There weren't a whole lot of ways to do it initially. There were better things you could do later, but it did feel like you as a mystic were just waiting to set up your board to then just go crazy on the scenario because mystics have some very powerful cards. I don't think that's true anymore. I think they can get to those cards more quickly and they can afford them in ways that they couldn't before. Now, that also means that spell redundancy isn't as necessary, which is a good thing since we don't have it to begin with. We only have our level 0 second sight for getting clues, our shadow meld for evading, and of course, the level 0 cosmic flame, which is in both the core and in this deck too, for dealing damage. There are level 5 versions of all of these, which I'll come back to when I show the deck as well. But that's it. There's a couple of other ways to get clues. There are a few damage spells out there in the Marie deck as well for some redundancy. But when I played Marie, I didn't really worry about finding the cards. They just showed up pretty quickly. And that to me was a revelation. I think just made playing Mystics much more fun, interesting, and might also mean that we don't see as many of these spell suites in the future products. I think we probably will just because they're interesting to design, I suppose. But in chapter 1, we were just sort of stuck with always finding these 3 assets for dealing with enemies or getting clues. And it kind of sucked all the design space out of what the box could provide with a number of cards. I'm using a lot of cards in this Marie deck that are not just those spells. And that, to me, in a core set environment, has been totally fine. So I'm going to show you the level 0 and then the 6 scenarios through of Dunwich, what I've got for the Marie deck, and just going to talk about why that's been interesting and fun. Okay, so here's the level 0 deck, and I really want to show that Marie is more than just the willpower stuff. Initially, I had this criticism of Marie that she has 4 intellect, but nothing to use it on in the deck. And I think the answer to that is twofold. One, the core set hand crank flashlight is actually playable. It is totally fine to just get 1 clue at a time, plus 1 for the test. That gets you 5. And maybe you discard it or something, but you don't really need to do that. Just put this into play for super cheap, and you're not using your hand slots for anything else in this deck anyway. There are a couple other things you could run into with the Marie deck, but I didn't put those in. I don't think they're as good or as interesting. So that's one thing you can do. You can also just commit cards. When you draw extra cards in this game, you will eventually hit a hand limit. That should not prevent you from drawing cards. What that should do is say, use the cards in your hand, you'll just replenish them with more cards later. So, cards like Perception do help you beat tough shrouds, and then cards like Unexpected Courage, Soul Link, Blood Curse all might be used for getting clues too. Now, the card draw engine is kind of as follows. You have your ally, Jim Culver, he's just really good. Drawing cards is amazing. He costs a lot, but you can afford it. 2/2 Soak helps you decide not to put the damage on yourself all the time. But even when you take damage through whatever, you get to draw a card once per round, of course, because you have to exhaust him. But that is very strong. I've put in the level 4 version. We'll talk about him later as well. Other way to take damage is this card, Offering Bowl. This lets you just gain resources, and you're also getting a card out of it and filtering through to find the stuff that you might actually want. Eventually, you will get to your spells. I do think Second Sight, which uses willpower now, is worth it just because the clue compression is strong in this game. I haven't put in Will of the Cosmos. That's the level 0 event that puts Doom on something, and then you get 2 clues, one from your location and another revealed one. Just because I don't think it works super well in Dungeon Legacy, but it's a strong card. It could be played in here as well. Anyway, the point of playing something like this is that eventually when you run out of charges on this thing, you start taking advantage of Marie's signature card. This is Grand Mare's Charm. You take a direct damage, exhaust it. So now we're drawing some cards for that and replenish a charge on an asset at your location. So now I can start putting stuff back onto either my Cosmic Flame, which I'm not using as much in this run because Rita is the other investigator here that Pax is playing. But yeah, I'm just refilling that Second Sight to power through more clues. The 3 damage here is important. The 3 damage here is really important. So her other signature card, called to Guinea, this is the weakness, is been kind of funny. It's been a joke that I've played 6 scenarios and I've not cleared it. It doesn't let you, so when this is in play, which inevitably happens, you can't heal damage. Well, check it out. What do I have in here that heals damage? Nothing. You can run like the spell that heals damage, but I think that is not necessary. Going back to what I find to be so compelling about this deck and Marie and this sort of new direction for Mystics is you're playing a bit more like a survivor where you have to take and manage all of this damage and horror, but you're also rushing through the scenario a bit. You want to finish it before the scenario kills you. The more rounds you take, the more likely bad stuff happens. Just don't let it happen. Play as fast as you can. You won't need to heal all the damage. In fact, you might not draw this thing all that early. You might, but you might not. I have only been healing horror using Marie Lambeau's Elder Sign. +0 if you succeed, heal damage. And you better bet I'm going to succeed on all the tests if I draw that token. I'm pretty sure I've drawn at least 2 of these every scenario. I'm just that kind of player. I do rely on the Elder Sign to do the thing it does, if it's good. A lot of old investigators in Chapter 1 had Elder Signs that were just kind of bad. But this doesn't require anything out of Marie, right? she's likely to have horror, rather, damage on her, so just heal it, right? It's not one of these things where, oh, you do extra damage on an attack or something. No, this happens no matter when you draw it. It's really good, very, very strong. So I've not needed to take the time to discard cards and get rid of this thing because why bother? Let's just finish the scenario quicker. I think in later campaigns that have longer scenarios, it's harder to do that, but in Dunwich, it's been very, very soft. Okay. Um, so that's kind of the interaction I think between the Grandmare's Charm and the second sight or Cosmic Flame. That you're really using this. Yes, the soak is really good, but you're really using this to make sure that those spells last longer, and therefore you don't need redundancy. You're gonna find these cards eventually, and you'll be very happy for it. The other card that's in here that's worth talking about is Mirror Form. I just have one copy, but I think it's cool. This allows you to put these spells or the charms, maybe even for their health soak, into play for just the rest of that round. So you can fast out one of these spells. You can fast out the charms, like this Lucky Charm, for example, to use its ability. Maybe put like a horror on it or something. And at the end of the round, if it's still in play, it goes back in your deck, which is actually way better than putting it in the discard pile because I'm going to find it really soon. So this deck has been just gas. You put a few of these things into play early, Offering Bowl especially. You start using her ability, and you just go to town. Note that my random basic weakness was Amnesia, which is bad. It's really bad in everyone, but in Marie, I mean, it's a speed bump, but I've not played investigators that can recover from amnesia so quickly. Remember, with Jim and Offering Bowl, I can take a damage here, draw a card with Jim, draw two cards, discarding one with Marie's ability, and get two resources. Like, very quickly, we can get ourselves back up to a full hand size and a bunch of resources. Hilariously, in scenario 6, I rolled Paranoia as my other random basic weakness that got added in. So it means that I'm just losing stuff all over the place, but it's okay. It's okay because we can get back. That's just not how I felt Mystic could ever play before. Okay, so what's the upgraded version look like? Honestly, it's very similar to this. I don't like to change too much of the guts, haha, guts, of the entire deck just because, things shouldn't get out of whack too much. So I upgraded my blood curses. They're incredible at level 3. I know before I said, like, is this really worth 3 XP? And the answer is I don't think it's worth it unless you've upgraded other things first. Or you're doing the damage to cards with healthier location, this ability here, for tech. Like this is your third point of damage on a spell. You're killing a 1 health enemy. There's lots of good things you can do with it. But really, the first XP went into two things. One, I wanted to make sure I could have all of these assets in play. So you can see I put a Charisma and a Relic Hunter in. These accessories are really good, right? Moving things around with Lucky Charm is really good for Marie, moving the damage off of her so she can use her ability more. It's kind of like her way of cheating called Degine. And then for my allies, I have the Professor Warren Rice story asset from Dunwich, who's just drawing me more cards, giving me more of a bonus to getting clues when I investigate using the hand crank flashlight, and a nice bunch of soak here. And then Jim Culver. This guy has such an incredible upgrade. No longer are you just drawing one card, you're drawing a card and getting a resource, and there's an extra soak. 1/1 soak, which is really good for this deck. I tanked an entire Beyond the Veil, that's 10 damage, and did not die. It was a little bit of a you're playing with fire uh, in Dungeon Legacy. For investigators that draw a lot, because there's a treachery that says if you run out of cards in your deck, you take 10 damage. But I was able to spread it out among all of these assets here, among Jim, among this Bloodstone, which is also really solid, the Grandmare's Charm, which also has 3, and then Marie's got 8. It's a lot. So yeah, the whole thing just works. And the synergy within one deck, granted, I'm not using everything from the Marie Lambeau deck. There's other stuff in here too. But the synergy that this has, it's very simple. Take damage, draw cards, don't die from damage, or horror for that matter. I do have the upgraded Fearless. And go as fast as you can. Just get the job done. With the number of wild icons that you're looking at over here, and the amount of card draw, any test, I can pass. I can at least try to. And if I don't, taking the damage or horror, not so bad. Losing resources, not so bad. Losing cards in hand, not so bad. The worst thing that can happen is maybe losing assets in play. That's a bit more of a tempo hit. Or, I don't know, other bad things that could happen, spawning extra enemies, losing actions. Those sorts of things are worse. But that is what our good friend Water Protection is here for. Yeah, in her original incarnation, right, she had 5 off-class survivor cards. She still feels like a survivor with the same stat line that she had before and the new direction that we have in this this chapter 2. I said I would mention like what's not in here as well. I didn't upgrade my second sight to level 5. It's a lot of XP. It really only gives you the extra +2. I'm not worried about failing tests though. I think the cards I have here are good enough. I didn't upgrade Cosmic Flame. That one actually would be a lot better, but it's not necessary for the deck that I'm playing here because I'm playing with Pax, who's playing a fighter already. And then the Spiritual Intuition's not here either. That could be a card that would help pass tests, but I don't think I need it. At least so far. In a harder campaign, maybe you think about these things a bit more, but I really enjoyed playing this collection of cards that does have a focus and isn't trying to do too many different things with the cards here. In fact, the one card here that I'm thinking might have been a mistake to upgrade into, I felt like I needed some damage healing. I haven't been able to play this yet. It just, for whatever reason, I've not been in the situation where I could play Blood Ward. But it is really good. I mean, canceling a non-elite enemy attack, healing 2 damage from an investigator. These are solid things to do for a fast card. I just haven't played it. In fact, I committed it for its icons. Well, I think I discarded whatever it was in the train scenario. I think I had to discard it. But it seems like a fine card. I don't think I really have any room for upgrading it to any other nonsense here. The last scenario, I think I'll probably just upgrade this other Guts to a Fearless, and then I don't know. We'll see. But it's been very fun, and that's why I think Marie is so interesting and a great addition to the Arkham Horror card game. Bye now.